In the heart of an ancient forest, where the leaves whispered secrets and the rivers sang soft lullabies, lived a proud and powerful stag. With a coat like burnished bronze and eyes as deep as the forest shadows, he was admired by all who caught a glimpse of him. But what truly set this stag apart, what he believed was his greatest glory, were his antlers. They rose from his head like a royal crown, vast and branching, as if the very trees had gifted him their limbs. Whenever he passed through a clearing, he walked slowly, gracefully, so that others might see and admire his antlers. And often they did. Birds would pause in flight, squirrels would sit up on their haunches, and even the old owls, wise and weary, would blink in admiration. One warm afternoon, the stag wandered into a clearing where a clear, still pool rested at the forest's edge. Thirsty from his walk, he lowered his head to drink, but as his lips touched the cool water, he froze.
There, in the mirror-like surface of the pool, he saw his reflection. He lifted his head slightly, angling it to admire his antlers in the water's still frame. Ah, he sighed with pride. What a magnificent crown I wear. So grand, so majestic. Truly, nature has been generous to me. But then his eyes shifted downward and caught sight of his legs. His thin, long legs, slightly knobbly at the knees, not nearly as impressive as his antlers. He frowned. These spindly things? He muttered, a sneer curling his lips. They look like sticks, fragile and awkward. What a shame to be blessed with such splendor above and such shame below. He stared for a long moment, filled with self-disgust over what he believed were his unimpressive legs. But before he could indulge further in his vanity and self-pity, the forest gave a warning. Crack! A twig snapped in the underbrush. Then came the unmistakable growl of wolves. In an instant, the stag's ears shot up, his muscles tensed. He knew the sound well. Danger was near, and he had no time to waste. Without hesitation, he turned and bolted through the forest. His legs, those same legs he had just insulted, carried him swiftly and silently over roots and rocks. They bent and sprang with grace, guiding him through narrow trails over fallen logs and around thick brush. The wolves gave chase, their snarls echoing behind him. But the stag's legs, slender as they were swift and sure. For a time, it seemed he might outrun his pursuers entirely. But then he made a fatal mistake. In his panic, he fled into a thicker part of the forest, where the trees grew tighter and the branches hung lower. As he dashed between two narrow trunks, his beautiful antlers, those same antlers he so adored, caught in the branches above. Snap! The stag tried to jerk free, twist, pull, struggle, but the antlers were stuck, tangled in the limbs like a crown of thorns. The wolves were closing in. The sounds of their approach were louder now, more urgent. The stag pulled harder, twisted again, but it was no use. The very things he had once treasured now held him prisoner, and in those final moments, as he heard the wolves panting and growling just yards away, he realized the bitter truth. These legs, he thought with aching regret, the ones I despised, they were my true strength. They carried me so far, so fast. But my antlers, the things I thought made me great, have led me to ruin. The forest fell silent for a moment, save for the birds taking flight and the wind rustling through the leaves. Later, when the forest calmed and the wolves had gone, the stillness returned to the clearing by the pool, and there the reflection of the stag no longer shimmered in the water, but the lesson he left behind would ripple through time. The moral of the story teaches us that what is most admired is not always most useful. Often the things we take for granted are the very things that keep us alive.